and welcome to another week of Brock's Hunting Cabins and More. This week we're going to take you and show you the biggest question that people ask: maintenance. How do you do it different? How is a log cabin different from a traditional home? And really, it's not. You got to look for a few different things. I'm going to have one of our builders, Lynn Nolen, here with us, and he talks to people. He knows the difference, and we're going to show you the misconceptions of having a cabin. All this action right here, right now on Brock's Hunting Cabins and More. Well, I'm here with a good friend and sort of a partner with me. They build a lot of our log homes, and I'm here with Lynn Nolen. Lynn, man, I appreciate you coming with us.
Absolutely, and I appreciate the introduction. And my thing is, I think I want to know, and what probably a lot of people want to know, is what is the biggest misconception about the maintenance of the log cabin?
Well, people think there's just so much to do because it's wood, but you know, if you look at a typical house, I mean, it's wood too. I mean, it may have a vinyl siding facing or whatever, but the biggest, you know, people say, what's the maintenance? Well, when you buy a house, do you ever ask that?
No.
Really?
You really don't.
And the maintenance is really minimal. I guess the biggest thing that I've learned over the years is stain. You know, where to stain and what color. You know, I've learned that the darker you stain, the longer it lasts. And it's just like if you have a house, how many years do you go traditional house if you have to paint?
Oh, probably what, 5 years maybe?
5, 6 years?
Yeah.
But with what I've got here, I use the darkest stain we could use. And another good thing is you need to find out where the sun's coming up and going down. Where it gets the most sun, you know, you might could put a rock siding like we do, you know, the faux rock, and cover that up. That way it'll last you a lot longer.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know, you've worked with this white oak, not white oak, but white pine, and it's a softwood. Mm-hmm. But you're going to have shrinkage in these cabins on any wood. I mean, we kiln dry it, but and you know, when you're building it, some of them logs are heavier than the others.
Absolutely.
The moisture content, but you know, something that we do, and you've done it, and I've learned it. I didn't do it when we first started, but you know, where a log butts up to another log, mm-hmm. or it comes to a corner. I'll let you explain what we do just to take care of that shrinkage, because it is going to shrink and swell. Y'all put a dowel, don't you?
Yes, we put a dowel. We drill a hole about 1 inch size, mm-hmm. drive the dowel down through one log to the other log, and it actually pulls it together really good. Yeah. And it holds it there. That's what I like about the dowel. Mm-hmm. And I think that's fairly new. Is that not correct?
Yeah, I saw that in Colorado when I was out there one time, so it is new.
Yeah, and it actually seems to work really well.
And I didn't realize it holds it, it pulls it together better, and not just
it really does pull it together, yeah. And that's what I like about it. I mean, you introduced that to me when we were there, I mean, on that log cabin we just finished. Mm-hmm. And I thought, this is awesome. This is the way to go.
You know, something that we do, and you've done it, and I've learned it. I didn't do it when we first started, but you know, where a log butts up to another log, mm-hmm. or it comes to a corner. I'll let you explain what we do just to take care of that shrinkage, because it is going to shrink and swell. Y'all put a dowel, don't you?
Yes, we put a dowel. We drill a hole about 1 inch size, mm-hmm. drive the dowel down through one log to the other log, and it actually pulls it together really good. Yeah. And it holds it there. That's what I like about the dowel. Mm-hmm. And I think that's fairly new. Is that not correct?
Yeah, I saw that in Colorado when I was out there one time, so it is new.
Yeah, and it actually seems to work really well.
And I didn't realize it holds it, it pulls it together better, and not just
it really does pull it together, and that's what I like about it. I mean, you introduced that to me when we were there. I mean, on that log cabin we just finished. And I thought, this is awesome. This is the way to go.
Well, it takes you guys a little time,
it
but
takes a little time.
It prevents a lot of stuff down the road.
Absolutely.
You know, I was telling you, you asked me, I guess when we first started, hey Brock, what do you do about these carpenter bees?
Yes.
I mean, they can be a pain in the you-know-what here in the South.
Absolutely.
But there's a product out there. It's called Tall Star, Talstar. You can get it at most co-ops, but if you go online at Amazon, you can buy it there, but it's highly concentrated, and you mix it with your stain. And when you put your stain on, it keeps those carpenter bees out, and the spiders and everything. It's a great product.
Oh yeah.
And you know, now let me ask you this: do you have people when you're building them? I'm sure they say, well, what else is there maintenance-wise? You know, something I found out you can do is if you'll wash your cabin once a year, just wash it real good.
Yes.
It'll keep things, you know, tidy. And I guess the biggest issue I see is those carpenter bees. And besides that, I mean, you know, there's a lot of log homes that have in the corners, what they do is they have a big bolt or a big rod all the way from the bottom to the top, and you have to adjust it every year.
For the shrinkage
and with ours, you don't have to. But that one, when I had that cabin, it was just it was a pain in the you-know-what every year to go do that in all the corners. And I think they had them in different places.
Right.
But you know, every, 36 inches, we put that 9-inch, 10-inch bolt. And basically, it really just,
it
puts that whole cabin
as
one.
Ties it all together. Yes, it sure does.
I told somebody, I said, well, if you ever remember seeing The Wizard of Oz, remember when Dorothy's house got took away and it was going up, that whole house was together. That don't happen really.
That's right.
in tornadoes.
That's right.
But I tell you what, when it gets one of these houses, I mean, it is. I mean, everything's connected, unlike a really traditional
It really
home.
is.
It's not. I mean,
That's exactly right.
And you know, people think, what, fire? It burn this thing up quick. But honestly, those big logs don't start.
They don't burn
It's
that.
hard to
That's
get them
right.
started a fire, you know. So
That's right.
it's people just have different thoughts. I mean, in their mind, they just think that a log cabin takes more work, but it really don't.
It really don't.
No, I mean, if you do the right things on the front end, you know, you can take care of a lot of that. And you can come to our website. We're fixing to have a stain chart up there where you can pick the stains. I mean, I recommend the darker stains. At first, I didn't like the darker color, but I kind of do now. You can accent it with different color, you know, doors and so forth. But folks, there's not a whole lot of maintenance that you have to do. I mean, there's just a few things that you have to look for, and you know, it's just like putting that Tall Star in your stain and spraying it off. And if you do things like that, these things will last. And think about it. Abraham Lincoln lived in a log home. His log home is still standing.
That's right.
So I mean, these things, if you do the maintenance, you take care of them.
And it's not really much different than any normal home. Seriously. People think it might be, but it's not. It's
I don't know who started the stuff about, but you know, the bad things. But I've lived in 4, and you know, they're good insulators for heating and cooling. They're just, I love them.
Oh yeah, I love them too.
Well, Lynn, you know, you've been building houses for 35 years. What, in your own words and your thinking, what's the difference do you feel like log cabin versus a traditional home?
Well, I tell you, my thoughts, Brock, is that with a log cabin versus a residential, just a regular style home, I honestly think that the log cabin is a lot sturdier, a lot stronger, especially the way we build and how we do it. I really, really think that the log cabins are so much stronger.
Well, I mean they're connected in so many more places.
And yeah, and then they're all, I mean, it's all together. Yeah. I mean, it is absolutely bolted really together. From 2 to 3 feet, I mean, everywhere, all the way around. Then once it's all tied in, to me, it's actually a lot stronger than a residential house. A little 2x4 studded walls. I mean, you can also go in there. I mean, people say, well, can you put sheetrock on the inside? Absolutely, you can.
You do anything
you can do anything you want to with a log cabin. I mean, you could absolutely walk in and you wouldn't even realize that you're inside a log cabin if you wanted to build it on the inside, just like a traditional home.
You know, and a lot of people say, can you put sheetrock in this? I said, well, of course.
Absolutely.
And you know, another good thing is not everybody necessarily wants a log cabin.
Right.
And we have, you know, we can build a stick-built house, but instead of using vinyl siding. We've got our own log siding. It looks the same, but
Exactly.
to me,
It's just a siding.
that's more work. I mean, you got to build stud the wall up. You got to put some on the inside, the outside, and in the middle.
That's correct. Absolutely.
These logs, people say, well, what do you put on the inside? Nothing. But to you, I mean, and you've done both of them. I mean,
Yes.
it's not, people just, I don't know where they come up with stuff.
I don't know either, but like you said, I mean, you can do anything on the inside. You can put sheetrock. You can make that inside of that house. People would, walk in and say, look, this is no log cabin.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is. You can do anything. Or you can leave it traditional and just leave the log showing on the inside. To me, I personally favor that way. I actually like that. I love that rustic smell with the logs. I mean, I love the whole
I don't smell it when I go in the
I do.
house.
I smell it. When I come in here earlier, I smell the logs. I mean, it was, and I mean, believe it or not, I mean, I've been around construction for 35 years or longer. Actually, I was raised in it. And actually, when I was younger, I actually helped a girl that I was dating's father build log cabins. But it ain't nothing like the way we build them today.
Right.
Totally different. Which I really, I drove nails.
Nails, them big old nails?
Yes.
Wow.
And I was wore out. It didn't take about one summer. I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this kind of log cabin.
Right.
But now that we do it with what we do, oh, I love it. And probably my next home will probably be this very thing, just like
Good.
this. Sure will. I really love this.
Well, I appreciate you being here with us and talking about the maintenance, and I guess we can put your phone number up there for them single. No, you're not single no more, are you? Oh, okay. Well, we're not going to put his phone.
No.
Oh, okay. I forgot. I won't put his phone number up for you later, but y'all call me. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's funny.
Our first morning we head to our stand, and it's 9 degrees and snowing. This nice buck came in, but unfortunately he was directly behind me. Corey could see him, but I couldn't. I grunted a few times, but he was more interested in the doe that was out in front of him. That was the last deer of the morning, so we headed back to camp for lunch. After lunch, we headed out to do some scouting.
So we got corn over here. This thing, really, this is a kind of a little crossing between 4 or 5 fields.
Yeah.
Some corn, some food plots.
Got a food plot in this cornfield and across the top of the creek there. We got a 3-acre food plot there. And we got the bottom field and 2 top cornfields up here. There's a lot of leftover corn on the ground up there too. So.
Yeah, there's a trail. There's trails all through here. It's not a work nice. I can pull the camera out here.
After finding a good spot, we hung our climbers and settled in for our afternoon hunt. It wasn't long before we started seeing deer. We saw quite a few deer that evening, but no shooter bucks. Now let's take a look at today's gear list. It was our last evening, and with a few minutes of light left, this nice buck stepped out at 500 yards and headed our way.
I want to take just a minute and show you one of the smallest cabins we make. It's called the Fox, and not only is it the smallest, but we use this for our dealers, our dealer display. If you'd like to become a dealer of our cabins and build, give us a call. Go to our website, contact us, tell them you're interested in a dealership. But this cabin would go great at your hunting club. It's 14 by 14 inside. Of course, it's got the big 6-foot porch. You could put bunk beds in there and a little compact kitchen that we sell. It'd be just right for a hunting club. And you know, number one, what this does, it increases the value of your property instead of a trailer or something like that. Those always depreciate. These little cabins, if you just put one on your property, it's going to increase the value of your property. And if you ever get ready to sell that property, it makes it to where it's a lot quicker to sell. Hope you enjoy it.
Behind that tree is exactly where that deer stopped. And the unfortunate thing was he was broadside 70 yards in perfect view for me. I had my crosshairs on his shoulder ready to drop him, but unfortunately my camera guy Corey couldn't see anything but the tree. So we said, okay, no big deal. He was coming to the corn out in front of us. That's probably where he'll still come. Let's just relax. So sure enough, the deer turned and started walking head on towards me. Walking head on, I had no shot again, but I figured he would walk into the corn. I'd have a 50-yard shot, no problem. The deer walks. Just as he gets out and starts to go broadside, he dips right into this corn and he disappeared. I mean, he completely vanished. It was one of the most frustrating hunts I've been on, to hunt that hard all week long and then have a nice buck the last night, our last hunt, to have a nice buck come out at 500 yards and come on our shoestring straight to us and then disappear 50 yards in front of us. Just, you know, frustration is an understatement. This deer was right there and I could not see him. So basically we sat there and watched the last couple of minutes of shooting light disappear. So as we packed up and I headed back to camp and got ready to head home, we got a phone call. And the phone call was from a good friend of ours, Ginger and Jesse Moorhead, who were hunting another farm that is part of Central Illinois Outfitters. It's one of Dick's farms, and it's about an hour away in a different county. So the phone call was to inform us that Jesse had shot a monster buck. I mean, a monster. I mean, he could hardly talk. So we decided to take a little road trip, and before we headed home, we decided to head over and check out this big buck. We got a phone call after we got out of the woods that Jesse Moorhead is over at one of Dick's other camps, which we knew we were going to go see him anyway tonight, but he shot a 190-inch buck, so we're going to go check him out. Jeez, man, you'd think somebody's house was on fire. We're following Dick, and we are hauling butt over to see this monster buck, man. See what happens? A big buck, and you'd think we were running to a fire or something. We got to get there. I know we keep I know we keep flipping on the camera, but you know, this is one of those little road trips that you know you're going to want to be a part of. This is the fun stuff. This is what it's all about. We are hauling butt across Illinois to go see a buddy's big buck. You know you want to hang out and see this. Hey man, that is you in front of me, right? I'm like, man, he's running like a bat out of hell. I hope that's him. No, I am too. Oh yeah, we had the camera on back here half the time. We're fired up. This is what it's all about, man. Nice little road trip to see the big buck.
What the hell is that?
What's that, man? Good.
Check him out, son. Check him out.
Oh, yeah. We ain't seen that one yet.
Dear God, man. You know everybody needs their own flashlight.
Anyway, John, I'm sitting there, like I say, I hadn't shot this gun, but a guy I trust a whole lot, Darryl Westman, had done sighted in. I drove 250 miles to get it. And I'm sitting there in a tree stand, and everything in the world went wrong. Chris has worked his butt off getting us around the place. We hadn't seen a couple does here and a couple does there. It's just pretty still right now. I'm sitting there, and this guy come in a three-wheeler about an hour after I got there. I said, "Oh, God." He didn't know I was there. He went back. And then he went back out about an hour before dark. I'm saying, "What's going on?" I'm looking straight ahead out there, other side of some alfalfa, across some corn. About 300 yards, I seen this little buck step out. Then I seen another buck step out. And I seen another buck step out. And they're growing every time they step out.